Imagine returning home from a relaxing 2-week business trip, looking forward to a long shower, only to find that your faucets are sputtering air and your well pump is making a rhythmic, dying, clicking sound. I live in a rural area where we rely on well water, and running a pump dry is the ultimate sin. I checked my outdoor spigot and found exactly what I feared. A heavy-duty garden hose, still connected, running directly over my back fence and into my neighbor Greg's brand-new 20,000-gallon in-ground swimming pool. Greg was a guy who loved the luxury lifestyle but had a budget mindset, which is just a polite way of saying he was a thief. Welcome back to Karma Files. My name is Sam, and I happen to be a senior research chemist for a water treatment company. Greg picked the wrong house to siphon from. When I confronted Greg, he was lounging on a flow-a-tie with a drink in his hand. He didn't even apologize. He just laughed and said, "Hey man, it's just water. It's not like I'm stealing your car. I figured you wouldn't mind helping a neighbor out. I'll buy you a burger at the party this weekend." He didn't care that his entitlement had literally burnt out my $3,000 well pump. He thought he'd gotten a free pool fill worth hundreds of dollars in electricity and wear and tear. I decided right then that Greg's grand opening party was going to be memorable for all the wrong reasons. I didn't call the police immediately. Instead, I went to my lab at work and prepared a donation for Greg's pool. I created a highly concentrated, stabilized copper sulfate solution, mixed with a specialized pH-reactive dye. To anyone looking at the pool, it remained crystal clear and sparkling blue. I waited until Friday night, when I saw Greg out by the pool, adjusting his chlorine levels. I walked over, pretending to be the nice neighbor, and handed him a large, unlabeled gallon jug. I told him it was a high-potency algaseed from my lab that would keep the water perfect for his big party. Greg, being cheap as always, snatched it up and poured the whole thing in, thanking me for the freebie. The next day, the party was in full swing. Greg had invited 30 people, including his boss and some local influencers. Everyone was splashing around in my water. About an hour into the party, the chemistry began to work its magic. The copper sulfate reacted with the high levels of chlorine Greg used, and more importantly, with the proteins in human hair. One by one, the guests started climbing out of the pool. To their absolute horror, everyone with blonde, highlighted, or light brown hair now had hair that was a vibrant neon shade of swamp green. But it didn't stop there. The pH-reactive dye I added began to bond with the expensive white plaster finish of Greg's new pool. What was once a pristine white oasis turned into a splotchy, permanent shade of sickly teal that looked like toxic waste. The influencers were screaming, Greg's boss was furious, and the party ended in a mass exodus to the local salons. Greg tried to sue me, but I had a video of him admitting he stole my water. The judge ruled that since he used unauthorized water and an untested gift from a neighbor, he was liable for the damage. Greg had to pay $5,000 to replace my well pump and another $10,000 to acid wash and replaster his ruined pool. He tried to swim for free. He ended up drowning in repair bills. Subscribe for more liquid justice.